Game On. I'm Drew Miller. This is a video series all about promoting small businesses by highlighting the business, but also having really cool, fun celebrity interviews. I'm thrilled for my guest today. He won a national championship with Michigan State hockey in 1986. He won a Stanley Cup with the New Jersey Devils in 1995, and he is the current head coach of Michigan State hockey, Danton Cole. Danton, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Be good to chat a little hockey here in June.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely, there's never a bad time to talk hockey. So my goal with this is with the celebrity interviews is just to kind of have a conversation about what's going on in your life and with Michigan State. So my first question right now is with your players being at home, quarantining, not at school. It's an unprecedented time right now. So how are you staying in contact with those players, coaching staffs? Luckily, it's the off season. Are you guys doing any type of workout stuff that you're sending them? What are you guys doing right now?
Yeah, it's been difficult because I tell you what, the spring has always been a really neat time on campus. Once the season's over in terms of workouts and the seniors have moved on and the new leadership starts taking over, and we really lost all that. We lost 5 or 6 weeks in the weight room, so that's been difficult, and we've tried to replicate that a little bit. So Coach Vorkapik has sent the workouts home now. Part of the problem with that is a lot of guys are in places where gyms aren't open. So, they've had to be creative at home if they can, but you can get your running in no matter what. You can do the plyos, you can find a spot. So the guys have been pretty creative. And I'd say most of them have had places to work out. And then really trying to stay in touch, whether it's, we have our call list where, we'll talk to 4 or 5 guys individually every week. And then we have team meetings. We do a lot of Zoom. Our staff does probably 1, maybe 2 a week just to stay on top of stuff. And then we did the whole group for a while. And then once all the new freshmen got online, it got to be a little too cumbersome. So now we're down to groups of 4 or 5 and, just spend some time, see how everything's going, how they're doing at home. And again, just trying to get some interaction between the seniors and the new freshmen and get everybody on the same page. So that's been good. We spent 3 weeks actually going over the Last Dance. Everybody was watching that and kind of talking about that. And I don't know if you've seen any of it, but I mean, it's basketball, but some tremendous lessons about, being a teammate and championship teams and, Michael Jordan being really excellent at what you're doing. So, just staying in contact like that. And then, we've had, all the protests and riots and stuff going on, and we've got guys spread out all over the world. So again, trying to keep touch and make sure everybody's doing all right. And, it leads to some good discussions and, we're trying to keep the bonding going, as that locker room and the tightness in there that's the most important thing. So trying to keep that going, and our guys have done a great job, and they've kind of stayed in contact. Our older guys have contacted the incoming guys. And so, we're moving along and hopefully we can hit the ground running here when we get back.
Yeah, no, that's great. I knew you guys would be doing some great stuff to keep the boys together, and definitely I think the leadership within the locker room always kind of grab the younger guys and lift them up and kind of teach them the ways. So that's great. So we talked about you winning a national championship. We talked about you winning a Stanley Cup. You have a lot of knowledge and experience as a player and as a coach. You coached a lot of different levels. When you're talking to your players in a normal season, not during the quarantine time right now, but you have messages, things you're trying to get across to them to make them successful on a day-to-day basis, and then also for the future when they're trying to ultimately get to the pro hockey level. What are some of the things that you're saying to them and trying to instill in them on a day-to-day basis to have to find that success?
Yeah, and I think this is something that, probably mean a lot. Actually, hopefully a lot of what we're talking about means a lot to you. But, we really, everything kind of starts and finishes and is kind of built off of leadership. And, with the U.S. team, we used to talk about it being a character-driven leadership program. We've kind of tried to bring that type of mentality over here. And, and just, teaching guys that everybody can be a leader. You can be quiet, you can be loud, you can be tall, you can be short, in some way. And then, that always just branches off to, what it is to be a man, how, you have to have good time management. You have to be able to follow to be a leader. So we have a book schedule that we go through. The freshmen get a book on time management, and then the sophomores have a different book on, successful skills. The juniors go into a team building kind of book, and then the seniors, read the Meaning of Life, which is a story of a man that went through World War II, and a Jewish man that spent some time in the concentration camps. And Viktor Frankl. It's a real powerful short book, but so we kind of hit on those things, and you try and build on them. Like I said, we watched The Last Dance, and the guys did a few projects and came up with some things. So you want them to be involved, you want them to be leaders, and that kind of, like I said, it branches out into everything else, and that's, whether you're a leader in the locker room or, during something like this, we want our guys to be leaders on campus. We want them to be leaders in the community, and it puts them in those situations. So if you get a 2.5 coming out of Michigan State as a grade point, or you get a 3.5, and you have some of those skills, if you can get up and talk in front of people, if you can do those things, man, if you're lucky enough, like you and I were, to play hockey and trick people into paying us for a while, that's great. But if you're not, then hey, there's a real life after that. And again, we're proof. We both played for a while, but we're both working now. And at some point, you're going to have to do that. But those are valuable skills that people look for, and they like hiring athletes because they have some of those skills and they have that competition. So you build on that, and then you just try and find which guys have which skills, and you try and figure out a way to maximize those. Like I said, whatever their personality is, you try and fit through that. So probably as a coach, that's been my biggest thrill. Like, you like to win. Hey, that's what we're all here for. You come through all that. But I think after you do it for a while, I think you really want to be a coach of significance, and something that's going to last for a while. When a guy's 30, 35, and you might look back like I did with Coach Mason and say, you know what, that man, he drove me nuts a lot, but man, he was right. And, when I learned
Hey,
an
I've
awful
had that
lot.
same feeling with a lot of my coaches, so
Yeah.
it's
So,
a good thing.
so that's a big audacious goal, to try and make a difference in a lot of young men's lives. But for me, that's what I really like about the coaching. And like I said, hopefully, whether it's hockey or business or teaching or lawyers, they take that stuff with them when they leave.
Yeah, so I guess my next question kind of segues right into what we were just talking about, is these kids, before they're playing junior hockey or wherever they're playing, before college, they have a choice to have a path to pro hockey. And I say that because I would say most kids, their goal and their dream is to play pro hockey. And so basically they can go major, junior, or college. In the recruiting process, how are you appealing to these kids that are trying to make the decision? Like, where do I want to go? Do I want to make the jump to major, junior, or do I want to go to college path? What are some of the things that you're saying when you're talking to these kids and saying, hey, you got to come this way. This is the better path for you. We have a great program at Michigan State, and college hockey is the way to go.
Right. And they do. This is a weird sport. Kids, they have a choice, and there's different avenues to get into the NHL. And I stick on the pro side of college hockey. I don't go down the road of saying, hey, this is bad over here. I really talk about Michigan State and what's great here in terms of development on and off the ice. Hey, having a degree, even if you just get close, if you're good enough to come here for 2 years or 3 years and take off, then you're able to come back and finish up. But between the training, the strength of schedule of the Big Ten, the travel here, how you're treated, the resources, they were way better when you were here than when I was here. But they're unbelievable now in terms of nutrition and academic support services and training, and it's just top notch. And most guys, quite frankly, they're not ready at 18 or 19 to play in the NHL. There's a few, and we all know, Conor McGregor, we all know who he is, but most of the other guys, it's when they're 22, 23, and just the strength training, the maturity, and some of those things. I think that they can do a great job here. So I really sell it. I think Michigan State has an unbelievable package to offer young men. And then, but at the end of the day, I think Mike Babcock has a really good quote about that. It's not, because a lot of guys say, well, I have to go play, especially if you're in Ontario recruiting, which we're getting more into again. They'll say, well, I have to go to the OHL if I want to play in the NHL. And he talks about, it's not the path doesn't determine the player determines the path. And I said, hey, if you're focused on this, you're going to get top notch. I talk about the coaching and what we have. I think I've had 105 of guys that have played for me that have played in the NHL, and that's more than most universities have in their whole history. So, you know what, if you want to be a pro player, this is a great place for you. And you can have the best of both worlds. So I think it's a great sales pitch. If they're not interested, then I kind of figure that it probably wouldn't have worked. So, and usually the guys that really like it and are into it and their parents are into it, it works out in the long term.
Well, Danton, you sold me. I think I'm coming back to Michigan State for
I think you got a year left. I could
I got
use
a
you.
year left, so I'm coming back. It sounds great to me. But no, I mean, college was always the path for me. I liked it. I think it developed me into a young man that was ready for to go into the real world, and also develop me and be ready for pro hockey. So I think it's a great path because it like you said, you can branch out in so many different ways instead of just concentrating just on hockey. But, so last question, Munn Ice Arena is getting the facelift. We have the addition on the side there, which is a lot to it. So could you talk about and highlight some of the spots for you guys as a team and the players, and recruiting some of the spots within that locker room and within your guys' area that are going to be really cool for the guys? And then also on the fan experience side, what are some of the spots that fans can come in and kind of interact and see some of that addition?
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. It's almost 40,000 square feet, and for the players, you know, change sides, everything will be new. So, you know, new locker room, you know, showers and saunas and all that. The players' room or players' lounge is outstanding. I mean, it's going to have some daylight coming downstairs, so you don't feel like you're quite in the basement, but just a real good area for guys to study and convene and have some meals. Some of the things that we've added. It will have a shooting room right downstairs, right by the locker room, which is great. And as you know, that's just a great off ice tool to have, and guys can come in and use that anytime. And hockey's difficult because to get on the ice and do it, it's not like basketball where you throw some tennis shoes on and you can go shoot. You've got to put skates on. So that'll be a real valuable area. We have a hydrotherapy area where we're going to have a big hot tub, big cold tub, and an underwater treadmill, which will be outstanding for rehab. And doing that, we can do that all right in Munn. And then down the hall, we've got a video room that's really, really nice. That's one of the areas where Munn, we really needed to kind of upgrade on that and have an area where all the guys can go and, you know, and sit and have the media. And then, you know, the medical and equipment area is going to be outstanding. So that the players there, and then upstairs on the main floor, new weight room, be just over 5,000 square feet, be right on site. You know, that for the guys is going to be that's probably the biggest jump right there, is having that right there and having the ability to do, you know, workouts before games. And I just think the ability to teach and to train will be that much greater. And then probably for the fans, the elevation is going to be really neat. You come on campus and you're, you know, 1855, Breslin, Munn, and then the stadium. Is just going to be a great vista of four great facilities. And you're going to get a real, you know, front porch to MSU athletics and MSU. So it's just a great design, and you can see it pretty good right now, kind of how it's going to lay out. And then the Hall of History is going to be really nice, and that's the Ron Mason Hall of History is going to be there, and just kind of all of our history, you know, going back from, you know, having stuff on Coach Bissoni and Coach Mason and Coach Conley, the coaches that have won national championships. Hobie Baker winners, you know, your brother and your cousin, the Miller Hobie Baker. Maybe we should change the name of it to the Miller Baker Award winner. But
Yeah.
so, you know, those guys will be there, so that'd be good for the fans. A lot of the names, a lot of pictures, NCAA championships, a lot of those things. So there's a couple interactive things, so that'll be really nice. And then that opens right up into Munn, and you know, it's going to be a neat little, like I said, the Hall of History will be really cool, and some video boards and some interactive stuff. So I think the fans before the game will like it, and in between periods, there'll be a lot of action through there.
Awesome. Well, Danton, that was a lot of great information on Michigan State hockey. I really enjoyed the conversation. I know giving the viewers that behind the scenes look and just kind of give them a vision of what's ahead and what you guys are doing as a team right now. It's always fun for them to kind of to see and hear and listen to. So viewers, make sure you're checking out the small business interviews coming up. And Danton, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate your time. And as always, man, go green.
All right. Go white. Thanks.